Hello and thank you for joining me. My name is Alan. So you've bought all your gear, you've got a full pantry, but if your kit sits on the shelf untouched, then they're not saving you. Potentially, you're setting yourself up for a fail. Let's crack on and you'll see what I mean. You see, buying lots of stuff doesn't actually mean that you're prepared. If you don't get intimate with your kit, then you're setting yourself up for a fail. So when was the last time you connected up your power station? Made sure that all the sockets actually work, got intimate with that piece of equipment so you know what it will do and how it will do it. And have you thought about how you're going to charge that up? If you're going to use solar panels, have you established where in your property, in your garden, that you're going to put your panel to be able to charge your equipment up? And if you think about it, the time that you're more likely to need it, as in during a power cut, potentially they happen more frequently during winter because the demand is higher than they do in summer. And when it's winter, there's less sunlight. So is your solar panel actually big enough? Is it capable of recharging your power station when there is limited sunlight? These are the things you need to be thinking about now and not when the poop hits the fan. Even things like cats, tourniquets, first field dressings, items in your first aid kit that are there for dealing with catastrophic bleeds, where perhaps you've got less than 2 minutes to stem the flow of blood. Is your cat still in the wrapper? Have you staged it? Do you know what to do with it? Same as the things like field dressings, easy field dressing, first field dressings. Hopefully you're going to have some trauma dressings within your stocks of first aid. But have you ever opened one? Do you know what side you apply to the wound? Do you know how to fasten it? These are all the sort of things you need to learn now because you can't afford to read the instructions when they're actually needed. Even things like water filters. When was the last time you actually tried your water filter? Are you aware of what it will do and what it won't do? What it can reduce or prevent and what it can't? Have you looked into how to maintain your water filter? If you're using a soya product, and that's just one that I've plucked out the air, you maintain that by backflushing. Have you backflushed? Do you know that you shouldn't backflush with tap water? Because depending on how hard or soft the water is, you'll end up with a limescale build up within the filter, which is basically calcium. So if you were to backflush, if you're in a hard water area and you backflush your soya filter and then leave it because you no longer need it, and then when you go back to using it, you can't work out why there is minimum flow. That's because the limescale, the calcium inside the filter is solidified and reducing the flow, reducing the output, which in effect makes that filter useless. So you need to look at how you can maintain your equipment now and not actually when you've got a problem. So you might think it's prudent to get 4 litres, get a gallon of distilled water, something like that. Just set aside so that you've got something to backflush your filter without having to be worried about calcium stroke limescale build up in it. These are the sort of things we need to be thinking about now, not in the 11th hour. You might have a well-stocked pantry, you've got, trays and trays of tinned food, bags of pasta, rice, everything that goes. But have you actually thought about nutritional value over calories? Even the ration pack meals, British Army, British military ration pack meals, and I will imagine that other countries, their MREs and whatever, are exactly the same. You shouldn't consume them for more than 30 days, unless of course you really have to because there's no options. But that's because you're not getting the full amount of nutrients. You might have loads of calories and you will hear loads of myths that say, yeah, store ration pack meals or MREs because they've got loads of calories. Actually have a look. You'll find out that the individual meals, for instance, a ration pack meal, rat pack meal, That individual meal hasn't got loads of calories. It's exactly the same amount of calories in a tinned ready meal. Those additional calories are made up with sugar. That's in the drink mixes, the chocolate bars, the cereal bars, the sweets, the candy, everything else that's actually in there, and the puddings, that sort of thing. And it's got a lot of sugar in there. And that's how the calories, how the whole ration pack, has 3,000 to 3,500 calories. It's not because the meals are good for you, or particularly good for you. It's because all the other stuff in there is how they boost the calories. The calories. And this is something you need to be thinking about. You need some sort of meal plan, perhaps to create a menu or menus, and go through your stocks to say, okay, I've got breakfast, I've got lunch, I've got dinner, I've got dessert, pudding, afters, whatever you want to call it. I've got fruit, I've got dried fruits, to try and make sure that you're actually getting a nutritional diet, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. If you're only prepping for the 72 hours or a week, then it doesn't matter too much. But if you're actually prepping to the point that you think you might have to use your food stocks to survive for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, then you really do have to put a little bit of work into it. Do the menus, think about adding to your food preps, how you can add. The idea is you want fresh. Can you grow some vegetables when it's in season? Have you got supplements? Have you got multivitamins? You might have to take, the doctor may have said to you that you need to take a supplement because you're deficient in a particular mineral or whatever. But things like multivitamins or even electrolytes, you need to be thinking more, not just I've got 600 tins in the cupboard, but I've got a fairly balanced, or as balanced as it could be, nutritional plan and a menu so I don't get bored. Eating porridge and beans every day is going to get boring after a few days, isn't it? So you really do need to put some work into that and come up with something that's better. FIFO, first in, first out. It can be hard. I am terrible at it. My discipline, my admin when it comes to the stored food is bad, and that's something that I've got to work hard on. But you need to be thinking about that. Whatever you put first into your pantry, that's going to be the first out when you go to use it, because you want things to be in date. And yes, I know people are going to say, well, tins can last for donkey's years. Yes, they can. But it's good to get disciplined and into the habit of rotating stuff, because out-of-date food loses nutritional value, even though it might still be palatable. And at the end of the day, it's the nutrients that keep us alive and not necessarily the calories. Another thing, mark everything up with a Sharpie. It's going to have a best before or a use by date or whatever on there, but duplicate that with a Sharpie pen, just in case that label fades or the print wasn't particularly strong when it was produced. And if you can, with that meal plan, have a use it before expiry meal plan, so you can minimise any waste. And when was the last time you actually tested your preps? And I don't necessarily mean the last time you went camping. When was the last time you turned the electricity off at home for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours if you're brave? How did you cope? Did everything work as planned, or did it show holes in your preps that you now need to address? Everything in life is based around skills. If you want to be good at a particular sport, then you need to actually practice, don't you? And that makes you get better. Prepping is exactly the same. The skills we have, we need to practice. Or the skills we don't have, we need to practice so that we become competent with them. Because there is a thing called perishable skills. If you, for instance, shoot, you get your eye in, you get used to it, you build the muscle memory. If you then, for whatever reason, don't shoot for months that roll into years, whilst chances are you can still remember the fundamentals of it, you will be rusty and you won't be good, because the skills are perishable. Same as riding a bike. You know, all these people say you ride a bike, you never forget. To a certain extent you don't, but you do though, don't you? If you haven't ridden a bicycle for months or years and then you get on it, you're a bit wobbly, you know, and everything's a bit iffy until you get back into it and you start building that muscle memory again. And prepping's exactly the same. You need to practice skills regularly. I'll give you an example. I used to be able to set up a tarp without any gimmicks, without any toggles, very, very quickly. So knots at either end, quick relief, even the guy lines, quick release. And then I stopped. I wasn't doing that for a few years. And then I decided I'm going to get, you know, stick a basher up in the garden because I wanted to refresh my memory to make sure that I can still do it and remember what to do. I couldn't remember how to do knots. I had to sit here, and I was literally here in the kitchen with some string, tying it to the table leg, and then kept repeating it until you know, my brain clicked and went, aha, I can remember again now. And that's exactly the same. You need to practice things, even simple things like, you know, your ferro rods in your survival kits. When was the last time you used one? Building a fire, although not essential to prepping, but it's exactly the same. Do you know how to build a fire? Sounds silly, but it is an art. Do you know about the different types of wood? Soft woods, hard woods, woods that burn quicker, woods that burn slower but hotter. These are all sort of skills that may potentially save you. But again, if you don't practice, then you're going to have a problem, because in that 11th hour is the wrong time to learn. That is why I giggle sometimes. And I don't want this video to be, I'm not condescending, I'm not looking down on people. I just want to point a few things out to hopefully make you prepare better. But for instance, when you see bug out bags and that sort of thing, and they've got the copy of the SAS handbook in there. Okay, if you're bored in camp and you've got nothing to do, then you can have something to read. But if you've got it in there because if there's a problem, you're going to look it up and then try and overcome that problem, then you're fooling yourself. Because you need to know those skills now, or at least have an idea of how to carry out those skills now, and not in the crisis. When a crisis comes, you're going to have tunnel vision, your hearing's going to start going, you're not going to hear as much, the adrenaline's going to go, your dexterity's going to go, so you're going to struggle. So you need to build the muscle memory, so things are pretty much a reaction and you can just crack on and deal with it. Not sit there shaking, fumbling through a book, looking at how to deal with A, B or C. And as I say, I'm not having a pop at people, I'm just trying to highlight the fact that you need to practice. So there you go. As I said, didn't mean it. I don't want it to come over as a condescending video. I'm trying to help and say that there is more to prepping than just buying stuff and stick it on the shelves. Take stuff out of wrappers. Get familiar with it. Know how it works. Know what it will do, what it won't do. Same with your food. Make sure that you can put together as best a nutritional plan as possible. Work out menus in advance. Make sure that you're reducing food waste by first in, first out. And just generally get hands-on with your preps now while you can. Because as I keep saying, when the poop hits the fan, that's too late to learn. Anyway, if you found the video useful, give us one of them. If you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing, and I'd love to read your comments. Are you a hands-on prepper? Get familiar, have a go, have an idea what you're doing, or are you just a buy it and forget it prepper? Love to read your comments. Have a lovely day. It is going to be a scorcher. See you soon.